Apple put themselves in a tricky predicament with the iPhone 13 Pro Max. They gave it an LTPO Super AMOLED display, and then they gave the iPhone 13 a really bright display as well. Now, Apple was willing to give users an ultra bright, ultra efficient display on their Pro and their Pro Max models, and a lot of people were expecting for Apple to bring similar tech to their lower end iPhones. And Apple didn't do that with the iPhone 14, and here's why. Now, first we need to understand that Apple will never create a device where one specific spec of that device is worse than the last generation. And so Apple is consistently trying to grow and improve every minute aspect of each of their devices. Now, year over year, when we are talking about screens, Apple had already decided that they are going to be using LTPO, or variable refresh rate displays, in their line of iPhones. Now, while this tech has been out for a while, LTPO displays are still the most expensive displays and the most expensive display technology that we have on the market. Now, the technology for LTPO displays is technology that has been patented by Apple, manufactured by Samsung, and Samsung has other panels with the same experience of being variable refresh rate, but they can't use the same exact method for LTPO that Apple does because Apple holds the intellectual property rights for it. And this whole predicament of Apple using fantastic, super high-end displays on their premium tier device all of a sudden means that they don't know what to put on their lower end displays. See, here's why. If Apple had chosen to use a fixed rate display, let's say it's a 90 Hertz fixed rate panel, they would have needed to have a 90 Hertz panel with at least 1,000 nits or around 1,200 nits of brightness in order to keep that display in line with their other devices. But we know that Apple is all about efficiency when they are designing iPhones, and putting a fixed refresh rate display on your base model phone so that a minority percentage of users can feel the difference in the experience between 90 Hertz and 60 Hertz just doesn't make sense for Apple. Now, it's worth noting that Apple scales their display refresh rate depending upon how the user is interfacing with the phone. So, for example, someone with an iPhone 13 Pro Max, their phone might be running at 60 Hertz most of the time and only going up to 100 Hertz, 90 Hertz, any of those rates in between when they are using their devices in a more dynamic way. Using a 90 Hertz fixed panel would have made it less battery efficient, and if Apple had gone with a 90 Hertz LTPO panel, they run the risk of users not feeling any tangible difference between their Pro display, top of the line wizardry, whatever they want to call it, and their lower end product, because they are variable refresh rates. And they really only can be felt when you are super quickly going through the phones and using them in a really dynamic way. So their other option was to go with a better, brighter 60 Hertz panel. And this was clearly the best option for Apple. And in my opinion, this is kind of the best option for most smartphones in general. 60 Hertz is what the majority of people can accept. What people don't want to accept is the, oh, I have to shade my device when I'm using it outside because my screen's not bright enough. To Apple, that's a much bigger, much more important aspect of the user experience than a few extra hertz and slightly faster refresh rates.